Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for an all new episode recap of today's Daysofourlives, January 30, 2026. Last episode recap of the month. So let's get into it. A lot of interesting stuff today. So start off with Rachel and Kristen's visit. So they are talking shop about what's gonna happen at this hearing with Rachel actually coming forward with the truth that she was the one who shot her uncle, not her mom. Now her mom was trying to convince her that look, you don't have to go through this. I'm more than willing to protect you. I'm more than willing to go back to Statesville and, serve up my time. And Rachel doesn't want her to go to prison again. She wants to take accountability and do just as much as she can, just like what Dr. Gregory suggested she does. Now, Kristen is not fond of Dr. Gregory because of her overstepping and not knowing boundaries, and she doesn't know everything. And she also talked about, her and Sophia, and that it's not best for them to be seeing each other in terms of, being friends. She needs to find friends her age. And she said that the kids her age are lame. Sophia's cooler. And, the kids think that she may be crazy. And Kristen reminds her that she's not crazy, right? So anyway, she just said she thinks that Baby is not the best, but then, Rachel is also saying that, they separated her and Sophia, and she said that she thinks it's the best decision that they could do, right? Now, at some point, Belle is going to come over and they are going to discuss how the hearing is going to happen. Before Belle visited Kristen and Rachel, she was talking with Brady, and Brady thanks her for everything that she has done to really make this an easier process regarding Rachel and her what's going to happen to her in terms of her coming forward with the truth. So she said, she loves Rachel and she's going to do everything in her power to make sure that she gets the best outcome possible. Now they talk more about in Marlena and what she's going through, and Bray said that she wants to visit her, to thank her for everything that she has done. And Belle is glad that they are on good terms, that he's forgiven her. He said everybody is deserving of forgiveness, and she said it's best you don't go over there because Xander is supposed to meet up with her for his session. So he said, oh yes, of course, I'm glad that she's helping him. If anybody needs their head shrunk, it's Xander, and she's the best to do it. So at this point, Belle said, look, everybody definitely needs help and she's the best to do it. So at some point, Sarah comes over there and Belle leaves to go to Kristen and Rachel. She comes over there and she pretty much lays out the terms, what's going to happen. It's going to be a simple procedure once she comes forward with the truth, and then the judge will hand out a sentence or some punishment for what she did. So now she's panicking because she just thought she was just going to tell the truth and her mom was going to be set free, and then she's going to carry on. Now Belle said, look, it's not as scary as you think it is. We still got to take accountability, go forward. And Kristen's not liking it one bit, and this is why this girl cannot really understand that with actions, there are positive or negative repercussions. If you keep babying her and coddling her, she will always feel as if she can just get a slap on the wrist. And I was definitely annoyed with Kristen throughout this whole scene because, Belle is just doing her job and she can't make no favors just because she is the child's aunt. She still has to hold up the ends of the law. She still has to go with with what the judge recommends. At the end of the day, she can only suggest that the judge be lenient, but at the end of the day, it's the judge's call, right? And Rachel is kind of panicking. She's asking if EJ was going to be there, and Belle was about to say yes, and then Kristen's like, absolutely not. Now at some point, Kristen tells Rachel to go outside and look at the painting or whatever drawing to go show to Belle. She talks to Belle and she's like, what is wrong with you? I am not okay with you telling her that she is going to be punished, severely punished. At the end of the day, it's an accident. So she said, at the end of the day, she still tried to murder EJ. she has to like be punished some way or the other. Now all I can do today is just have a friendly suggestion with the judge, but at the end of the day it's the judge's call. Like, Rachel still has to be accountable for her actions. Kristen is not liking it. Kristen is saying this is a bad idea, she shouldn't have gone through with this, she should have just gone to Statesville and just serve all the time and not have Rachel going through this. And she was saying, like, why would you want EJ to be there? And she's saying, like, EJ is the victim. He can persuade the judge to be lenient on behalf of Rachel. At the end of the day, all we want is the best outcome for Rachel. And she said, really, I really don't trust that, right? I don't like how Kristen is going about this, because she doesn't like EJ, fine, but EJ could persuade the judge to think otherwise regarding Rachel. Rachel could be let off with just maybe juvenile detention, maybe community service, whatever. Like, I don't get her, and this is why Rachel is how she is. Now, back to this, because this was just disgusting to watch. Brady and Sarah, they're talking about what happened with her and Kristen. Now, he's surprised that Kristen even came to Sarah and told her that, look, back off from Brady and Rachel, you're no good for them. And he's like, who is she to dictate who I can see or cannot see? Like, she has no right to say anything about my personal life. So she said, even though I don't completely agree with what Kristen is saying, at the end of the day, like, I do care about Rachel, and maybe she has a point in terms of us seeing each other, and maybe it might delay her recovery. And Brady's trying to say, but Dr. Gregory said this and that, and she said, yeah, Dr. Gregory said that, but at the same time, who knows how long the recovery may be. We do not want to like set it off in some way. And it's not only just Kristen, it's my mom, it's Marlena, it's Xander. And Brady's like, what does Xander have to do with this? So she said, he thinks that we're seeing each other to get back at him. And he said, come on now, really? So she said, part of it, may be right. Indirectly, I do want to see you, but if it ends up hurting him in the hindsight for how he hurt me, then let's go forward with it. And Brady's on board with it for some reason. I guess he likes to just be used just because he can get in the sheets with the next woman. I just don't get this Brady character. But anyways, he is there to be with Sarah because he really likes her. He likes who she is and blah, blah, blah. And they agree to see where it goes. So she said he needs to find his own place because Rachel shouldn't come back to the mansion where she and Victoria is. And he agrees, even though he was groaning about it, he agrees in the end that he really needs to go see places where he and Rachel can go. Again, really cannot stomach these two. Xander goes over to see Marlena. He's already scared about seeing her because he knows that he was in the wrong for firing Brady because of his own feelings, and she didn't like how he went about it and also kind of affected her late husband's business. And he apologizes. He let his anger get the best of him, and he would understand if she don't want to see him no more. She said, I would refer you to another therapist, but then they don't know your history like I do. So I agree to keep seeing you. We just won't do it here. I'm continuing my practice at the hospital. We'll meet there for the next one, but make no remarks there, right? At the end of the day, like, if you do pull the stunt again and hurt one of my family members this way, then I won't be seeing you anymore. And furthermore, I won't recommend you to nobody else. You got that? So he said, okay, clear. I'm sorry about that. So they begin their session. And, she's saying, like, why did you even go ahead and fire Brady? Like, what was it really about? So he said, he's been stressed, going through a lot of things with the business, but also it's because of the divorce decree that he got in the mail on the same day. And then also she said, are you sure that there's no more to it? So he said, like, what do you mean? So she said, maybe it's because of Sarah, right? So he said he thinks it's because they want to get back at him because they do share hatred for him, and that's what bonded them, and that's why they're getting back at him. And she said, really, I don't think that is in their intention to do so. And furthermore, what they do is none of your business. If they decided to come together, what you need to do is focus on being a father to your child that you haven't seen since Halloween. Focus on being the best version of yourself. Like, basically remove yourself from Sarah, find out who you are, do some soul searching. So I said he doesn't even know if he can. Like, he doesn't feel like it's working. His anger issues are getting better. And I am sorry for how I treated Brady. She said, I'm the wrong person to say this to. You need to go talk to Brady and apologize to him. Whether or not he accepts it, it's at the end of the day, you did apologize, right? And, take up a hobby, do something else, do some boxing, get out your anger. So he agrees to do that, and then they agree to meet up for next session. And I agree with Marlena, like, do a hobby, get over Sarah. Like, I get that you guys have history, but she's no prize. Move on, date around until you really are ready to settle into a more stronger relationship. Now, this scene was comedic. Gwen and Dimitri were there at the living area of the Demare mansion, and they were talking briefly about Stefano's memorial and the bones and all of that. So at some point, Gwen is saying, I wonder how Stefano would feel about us. And he said probably he would just be turning up his nose at the fact that you're a leech and all of that. So she said, what would you think about Leo? So anyways, they talked briefly about how, if the ISC is still looking at him for the Demare kidnapping. He said, they still are, even though I'm not behind it, even though you had me captive. And she said, come on, I did no such thing. I'm tired of telling you that. And he said, they did trace back the camera to Alemania where Vivian is. And Vivian, he hates the Von Leuschners, and I would never work with her. And she said, at least we have something in common, that we really do not care for you. So anyways, he said, I know you hate me for what I did to you. And she said, come on, you hurt me by being with my best friend, and also that you just didn't have no remorse for it. And he said, look, at the end of the day, we just have to move on, and I am going to divorce you. I'm going to prove that you did held me captive because of your hatred and all of that. And she said, I did not do that, and you're not going to find the proof, and I'm going to beat you to it first. And he just can't wait to move on with his life and divorce her and get back with Leah and all of that. So Leah comes in at the moment, sees them very tense, and he's like, what's going on? So anyways, he asks, what are you here for? So I said, I need to talk to Dimitri, I need to lay out how I feel. Earlier, Leo was trying to contact Javi and ask about his uncle, his father and everything. And it went straight to voicemail. He misses Javi and I hope to hear from him. He comes there to really just, basically have closure, because he thought about their prison visits years ago. And he came there to just tell Dimitri 10 reasons why he does not want to be with him. He does not see them working out because they're too bad for each other. They're too toxic. They have similar traits that are negative, and he doesn't want to live that way. Javi brings out the best in him, and he's a better person because of Javi, and Dimitri's mocking him all the way. He talks about how they have different music tastes. I guess he likes George Michael, and Dimitri likes Sade or whatever. But it was just comedic, their distaste and all of that. So Gwen is just there enjoying the show at this point, because Dimitri was telling her to go leave, but Leah said he can say what he is going to say in front of her. Now at some point, Dimitri's trying to kiss him. Leo said, and walks out. And, Gwen is loving this all. And he said, look, I'm going to make sure that you pay. I'm going to make sure you get out of here. Your days are numbered. And she said, not if I get you out here first. So at some point, she calls Vivian. I love to see when Vivian comes back on TV. She is good TV. She's like, what are you calling me for? So Gwen said, look, do you still hate the Von Leuschners? So she said, yes, definitely. So Gwen said, look, I have a plan, I have a proposition. So let's see how this team up is gonna go. I love when Mrs. Louis Sorrell comes on TV and blesses us, but yeah, we know it's just for a short period of time, probably 3 days. But look, I'm here for some of that turn up drama. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys tomorrow. Well, next week, February. See you guys.